My name is Mike Fetter, and I'm a professional wedding and portrait photographer. I guess you can say that photography is kind of in my blood. My uncle was a photographer from the earliest days I can remember. The thing that interested me most about it was the fact that he wasn't just taking pictures, that he was making photographs. Just the way he positioned the subject, positioned the people within the frame, and it was actually creating art. And I think that's kind of carried over to my work today, because I don't want to be just the wedding photographer. That's not why I'm here. I want to create art. I want to create something for the bride and groom that would fit easily in a wedding magazine. I want them to have a piece of art to hang on their wall that they can look at and be proud of at any given moment. It's my goal to actually steal them away from the wedding. You know, right after dinner is usually when we do it, but we'll actually take them away and take them outdoors and create that art, rather than just taking photos like everyone else would. And again, we want to go kind of a step above and beyond of what a normal photographer would do. But what we'll do is we actually, when we take the bride and groom outdoors, we actually have wireless lighting that we use so we can achieve studio lighting anywhere. So if we find a location that's really attractive and really nice, we can create studio lighting right outdoors. And just the end product is fantastic, and it's, you know, in my opinion, it's a step above. And again, it's all in the effort to kind of create this art for the bride and groom and go the extra mile for them. Another thing that I base my business on is moments. My tagline is where moments become memories. And it's one thing to be a wedding photographer and capture all of the regular things that are happening, but not all of the action happens at the altar. While we're photographing the actual wedding ceremony itself, I'm constantly looking around the audience for those moments. For instance, there's a couple of instances that come to mind. One of them was a young boy, probably 10, 11 years old, and it was pretty obvious that they were in the process of adopting a younger baby, and the older boy was just totally in love with this little baby. He never wanted to put him down, even during feedings. He wanted to be totally involved with that baby, and you could tell that he was just in love with this little boy. And while the actual procession was coming through, as the couples were coming down the aisle, I just happened to look over and catch the older boy giving the younger baby a kiss on the forehead. And it's those moments that kind of make me even tear up just looking through the lens, just catching that for the bride and groom and for the rest of the family. Another moment that I can recall that still comes to mind a lot is what I call the note. And that was where, prior to the wedding, the bride and groom they didn't want to see each other. As is pretty traditional. But as soon as I got to the wedding, what had happened is I found the bride sitting on the floor, not dressed yet, still in jeans, casual attire, but she was writing a note. And I found out while I said hello to her that she was actually writing a note to her husband-to-be. So it was to be delivered to her husband in another room, in another part of the church. So I got down and started photographing her in this manner, and it ended up being one of my favorite photos because it's not something that everyone's going to see or realize is even happening, you know, all of the rest of the people that are attending. But the best part of that is while this was happening, I realized obviously this note is going to be delivered to the groom. So I had my second shooter actually follow the note, and we also got the photograph of the groom actually reading the note as well, so it kind of pulls everything together. a lot of what I do that sets me apart, I think, is I'm able to create relationships with the brides and grooms. That all starts with the actual first consultation with the bride and groom. If you sit down with a bride and groom on your first meeting and things don't mesh and personalities don't mesh, then you're not really going to go anywhere down the road. But when it happens, it's magic. You sit down with a couple, before you know it, you're having a cup of coffee, and before you know it, you're laughing and joking with one another. I'm cracking jokes, they're laughing, they're cracking jokes, I'm laughing. So that starts the whole process rolling, and that's really where the trust starts between photographer and client. The next step after that is I almost always insist on an engagement session, because that further enhances our relationship and it gets them comfortable in front of the camera. I remember my second shooter telling me that during his first engagement session with me, he was really amazed at how when the couple first got there, they were stiff. Where do I put my hands? And nervous smiles and all that. But by the time we got halfway through the session, I could have asked them to stand on their heads and they would have done it. Just simply because we were having so much fun laughing and joking around, and I'm showing them the work on the back of the camera. And once they saw what we're actually getting during the session, they were just totally at ease. Now, after the session is done and they've seen all their finished photos, they're totally amazed at what they've seen, and they're actually looking forward to the wedding, to being photographed that day. And that really helps out as a head start for me, because I don't have to reacquaint myself, and everything flows so much better because of that. And because everything flows so much better and everybody's so much more relaxed, the product that comes out, the actual photographs, are amazing when it happens. I've done a lot of photography throughout the years. I started Fetography Portraits probably about 6 years ago, I think. But over the years, I've done just a little bit of everything, from baby photos to commercial photography, taking pictures of buildings and rooms and things like that. But I think in my mind, the absolute favorite thing that I like to do is to shoot a wedding. Think about it. You're there on a couple's, the happiest day of their lives, and all you have to do is sit back and capture moments that just are overwhelming for them and for me too. It's amazing to be able to capture some of those emotions that the bride and groom are having that day, and the rest of the family for that matter. When you look over and you see a mom, in tears, that's what I live for. I live for the day that when the wedding's all said and done and all the post-production's done and I present them with the product and an album and we go through everything in a review, and I'm not happy until I see smiles from the bride and groom, but what makes me even happier is when I start to see the tears from the bride and or the groom for that matter, or even myself. I'm starting to tear up now. But anyway, it's a passion for me. I can't escape it. It's something that I've always wanted to do since I was a kid, and it's something I always will do until I'm not able. I'm not a photographer because I want to be. I'm a photographer because I have to be.